everyone. It is Sean McKenzie back with our fourth and final region showdown. This is the high proof, a little bit more rare stuff to find and to get bracket, if you will. Right, so some of this is hard to find, and then all of it is very high proof. I think most of this is over 120, if not in the 140 proof range. So this one's going to be a little bit of a spicy one for us today, but we're going to dive into it. I'm so excited for this one. I've been waiting to do this one for a little while. I was also a little hesitant just because it is very high proof stuff. So let's get into it. Which ones do we have? So from our 1 seed to our 8 seed. So number 1, I was very lucky to get this on Christmas Day from a really good friend of mine. He was able to help my wife find it for me. I've been wanting a George T. Stagg whatever year since I've started looking for bourbon over the last couple of years. And we were able to find the 2025 George T. Stagg. This one is 142.8 proof, so that is hazmat for those that know that. It is 71% alcohol. On to the next one. This is Russell's 13 barrel proof. This is batch number 6, I believe, 123.8 proof. I was lucky enough to get this one from Javier over at Nana's. He was really nice and he sold it to me. It was super awesome to get it. I've heard really good things of Russell's 13 and 15, so maybe one day I'll get a 15, but for now we've got the 13. Some of these I saved because I didn't know if I'd finish it or not. So we have the Russell's 13 sitting here. This is the only one out of the 4 that I was able to get. I don't think a lot of them came to Arizona this year, but this is the Stagg Junior 25A. It's fantastic. I have 2 bottles of this now. It's really, really good. I know there's only a little bit missing, but I promise you it's really, really good. Then we have Frey Ranch. So this is, Frey Ranch is out of Nevada. They grow all of their own grain, and they use all of their own stuff to make their product. So this is their straight bourbon whiskey. This is actually a bottle pick out of Tap and Bottle out here in Tucson. Super excited for that. Again, same thing. We've got this one here because we saved a little bit of it. I also won another bottle, so we had plenty of it. We had plenty of it. And then coming in at number 5, we have a Knob Creek single barrel strength. Again, this one is 124 proof. That Frey Ranch was 119 proof, so the lowest proof one so far at 119. Stagg was 126.5. This one's 124.7, the Knob Creek. This one was picked for a Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. It was picked through Nana's here in Tucson, and my really good friend TJ helped pick this, and he was super excited about it. Number 6 in this one. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the Booker's 2025-02. We did a blind. My friends and I did a blind on New Year's Eve of the first, second, third, and fourth quarter releases from Booker's this year, and this is the one that came out on top. As you can see, we've drank a lot of it, so maybe it will take down one of these and we'll keep going with it. This one is 126.5 proof. Number 7 is another Nana's. So how many do we have that kind of came from Nana's or were picked with Nana's people? We have 1, 2, and we have this one I got from Nana's, so it wasn't picked by them. But Nana's is a really helpful place for me to find some of these things. This is their Old Forester single barrel strength. This one is 129.7 proof. This one is just labeled 2008 for when Nana's Kitchen opened in Tucson. And then last but not least, we have 13th Colony. This one is 120.65 proof. So everything is over 120 except for this Frey Ranch, which is at 119.38. So everything is just over 60% or barely under 60%. This one is out of Georgia. It's really cool. It's finally made its way to Arizona. I was able to win this at Tap and Bottle to purchase it. So this is their Cask Strength one. And that comes in at our 8 seed. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm ready for this one here. This is one's going to be fun. We are going to do George T. Stagg versus the 13th Colony. So we'll kind of start moving stuff out of the way just so I have room and I don't knock anything over, because honestly, that would not be fun to knock stuff over and have to pick stuff up. Okay, So we're going to get into this because these are a little bit higher in strength. I'm going to try and do like maybe a little bit less than half an ounce, just so that we can get through all of these. Should be able to tell by just a little bit which one I like the best. So let's make sure we mark this one. So we're just going to mark this one. Oops, I don't have very good handwriting. GTS. GTS, George T. Stagg out of Buffalo Trace. It's part of their BTAC collection, their Buffalo Trace Antique Collection is what that stands for. They come out with all their stuff towards the end of the year every year. They're George T. Stagg, they're William LaRue Weller. They have Thomas H. Handy. They have Eagle Rare 17. They have the new E.H. Taylor BTAC that came out this year for the first time. And then along with all the other Pappy Van Winkle stuff that comes out along with the BTAC. So they all come out around the same time towards the end of the year. So yeah, we were able to get one. Super, super thankful, super excited to have this in the collection. Hopefully it stays in the collection for a little bit of time because it's so good and I don't want to go through it too quickly. Also, it's 70%, so that also helps me not drink it so fast. So all right, so we've got 13th Colony and we've got George T. Stagg. I think by far, because I tried the George T. Stagg, and I immediately knew it was super, super good, and I knew I wanted it. I think I've wanted George T. Stagg for a long time since I've tried one for the first time. I think in 2024, at the end of 2024, I finally tried George T. Stagg, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, 13th Colony is also really good. Don't get me wrong. There were some other barrel strength stuff. Obviously we could have put all of the Bookers in. We could have put the different little books. I know we did the little book for the rye one. We didn't put one of the. I don't think the limited edition one or the Infinite made it in at all, or the Chapter 9. So I mean, there was definitely some other ones that could have made it in here. So 13th Colony is by no means any kind of slouch when it comes to being one of the top 8 high proof bourbons that's not finished in anything or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and take the first one. Oh wow! Right off the bat was just like a straight vanilla caramel bomb, just right there. Super sweet, not crazy on the palate. Again, one's 120, one's 140, so they're a little bit different. So maybe this next one might be a little bit more punchy, or maybe it's not. But let's see. Oh man, just another. This one's like wasn't super sweet, but that caramel was still there. It was a little bit punchier. It might have been a little bit punchier for me, but man, that was good too. I wouldn't say punchier as in like an alcohol punch. I honestly couldn't tell you because again, one's 140 proof and one's just at 100 this is 142 proof and this is only 120.65. So I mean it is 10% difference. So and I couldn't really tell. Yeah, just a flavor bomb for that one of just like caramels and sugar and sweetness. It might be a little bit too sweet for me. Um, Especially for this region, I'm wanting something that definitely has that like kick to it, but it's super, super good. I could be wrong. That one could be the GTS, and I could just be so bad at this. That one just has just a stronger flavor to it, and it's maybe the alcohol content. If it is the GTS, that's just kind of pushing it and elevating it a little bit more. I think that's what I like. Don't get me wrong, the one that was sweet, this one is so, 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 so good. But I think I like this one better This one is the GTS. So that is the one that we liked. That one's the one that we picked, was a GTS. It is freaking fantastic. It is a flavor bomb. It is definitely heavy on the alcohol content for sure. I could definitely feel it, kind of going down. But that alcohol content just gives it just that, just pushes that flavor forward and more pronounced. By no means is it like undrinkable, right? Because like I've had some that are higher proofs, higher proof, and it's just like I don't taste a whole lot because that alcohol is just super, super forward. But this one obviously is done very, very well. Excuse me, they do a great job with the stuff for the BTAC. I haven't had a lot of the other ones, just George T. Stagg. That's been my favorite, and that is the one that is moving on. So unfortunately, 13th Colony is not, but that one was so good too. I actually forgot that it was that good. Yeah, if it maybe was just a little bit higher in proof to push that like caramel sugar note forward a little bit more, it might have edged it out, to be honest with you. But it was just a little bit too sweet, honestly. And that's crazy to say for a 120 proof that it might have been too sweet for me. So we're gonna rinse those out. Yeah, just even with the water, just so much sweetness in both of those, which is quite interesting with such the high proof that it is. It's very, very interesting. So these next ones that are battling it out are Russell's Reserve Batch number 6, aged 13 years, and Old Forester Single Barrel Strength, coming in at 64.85%. This is a Nana's Barrel pick, and this one is just your regular, not off the shelf, but this is just your regular Russell's Reserve 13 year. Nothing super special about it, of where it came from or anything like that. Obviously, it's extremely hard to find, um, and it's also hard to find at a reasonable price. Not going to spend $400 on, $400 or $500 on a bottle of whiskey. That's just not me. But we were able to get what we got at a good price. And we don't have to drink out of the bottle because we still have a lot of this left. And we have one more bottle too. So we've got plenty of it left, which is nice because, again, the stuff that's really nice, honestly, all of it is really good. The stuff that sits on my regular shelves probably gets drank a lot more just because it's stuff that I could go find again if I wanted to. I didn't label that first one, but nothing has moved, so we'll do that real quick. But yeah, so the stuff that's on the wall, kind of, I'm hoping to have sit on the wall a little bit for quite a while, just because it's the stuff that's really, really good. Um, so yeah, that's why all of this stuff that you've probably seen in other videos has come in to the top 25 or top 2025 bottles, because they're the ones that are special. So, and the ones that I like a lot and I want to keep and share with friends and all that good stuff. So, all right. So we've got the Russell's Reserve 13 versus the Old Forester Barrel Pick out of Nana's Kitchen. We are going to spin this away. The solo blind is so awesome. I don't think I'd be able to really do this that well without somebody else helping me, without Keeleen helping me, or somebody else helping me put this together. So shout out to the guys at I think it's Whiskey Noob or Bourbon Noob on Instagram and YouTube for making these, and they're constantly coming out and coming back in stock. So if you really like whiskey or bourbon, you should definitely invest in one of these. They're not too expensive, like 75 bucks. They work great and they're awesome. So let's get to it. Okay, so that one's like a little bit more subtle flavor, very oaky. Yeah, it just has that like forward oak, maybe a little bit of sweetness right there at the very end. Nothing too crazy on the palate. Again, one of these, this one is 61.9%, and this one is 64.85, so not too far off from each other. So I don't think like the alcohol content, not like the GTS. The GTS by all of these is going to be a lot higher in proof, so it might be a little bit easier to tell. Maybe, maybe not. That last one was a little bit easier to tell, but I just like the flavor of it, obviously, better than the sweetness. But all of these next ones are going to be very, very close when it comes to alcohol content and alcohol feel. But again, even if they're close, doesn't mean that one doesn't feel or taste more overpowering than the other. One has a little bit more sweetness and like the oak on the back end of the palate, where this one was oak on the front. Not this one, sorry. I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry. This one was oak on the palate, on the front end of the palate, and sweetness on the back. This one is sweetness on the front of the palate with oakiness on the back of the palate. I don't know if it's the Russells. I'm so sorry. Like I feel like I should spin this just to screw it up a little bit more because I don't know which one is which. And I don't want there to be any bias thinking that I thought that one was the Russells. So we'll go back to this one and see. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one has that sweetness on the front of it and the oak on the back. At least that's how I still feel with that one. Even though it could be different. So yeah, that one has the oakiness on the front and sweetness in the back. Hmm. This is tough. These are close. These are close. I'm looking at them both. I'm looking at the ones in here. Let's see. Hmm. Don't know. This one's really close. Hmm. Mm. For a second there, I thought it was going to be this one. Had just like a twinge of a different taste, right, like right there as I was swallowing. So I think I'm going to go with this one here. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. I have no idea which one this is. It could be any single one of them. Let's see. It is the Russell's Reserve 13. Um, that just had an overall smoother taste to it. Um, the Old Forester, while it was really, really good, it just had like I said, I was about to pick that one. Now that we know that this was the Old Forester, I was about to pick it right until I was swallowing. It had just like a twingy, like I don't even know how to describe it, like tangy kind of flavor to it, real quick that just kind of put me off on it like at the very very last second. If that wouldn't have happened, and again who knows why it happened, but if that wouldn't have happened I probably would have picked the Old Forester. But like I said, just at that last second there was something that just didn't sit right when I tasted it. And again, we respun it, so again I had no idea that that one on my right side on your left side lined up with the Russells. I had no idea. So Javier and Marco, don't be mad at me because this got beat out by Russell. So, all right. So the Russell's 13 is moving on. Number one and number two seeds have made it through to the next section. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep trying to power through to get this all done in one take. These are definitely some stronger bourbons to do all at one time. So we're going to keep powering through and we're going to keep going. This next one is going to be the Stagg 25A. Make sure we get it all in there. Make sure we label it this time. 25A. 25A. Right there. 25A for the Stagg Junior. Again, this is also out of the Buffalo Trace area. This is part of the Stagg, right? George T. Stagg and Stagg It used to be called Stagg Junior, but it's no longer Stagg Junior. I think batch 18 was the last time it was called Stagg Junior, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, same. It comes out of the Buffalo Trace, and they come out with one every single quarter. It just depends on how it gets allocated out to different places. Because I didn't see B, C, or D. I know some people have seen those other three, but I'm not that well connected in the bourbon area or the bourbon scene, I guess. I've got some nice stuff, but some other people have some really, really nice bottles. That's pretty cool to that they have, and sometimes I get to try them, so that's fun as well. So we've got the Booker's. I'm just gonna do 2502 with a B. 2502 with the B for Booker's 2025-02 release. Which one is this? This one is called By the Pond batch. What I really like about these is they always like put like a fun little story about like how it became or what the inspiration was for each batch. I mean, they keep coming out with them. I think like the oldest one I've ever seen was maybe like 2015, maybe even older. So the fact that they come out with 4 of them every single year and they still have some fun stories and fun reasons why they blended each bottle is pretty cool. Same with the little books, the Infinite and the chapters. Same thing. I mean, they always come up with really fun stories or really fun ways to talk about their distilling, stuff and where everything's coming from. So I think that's really really cool. It's really unique. That's why I've continued to collect them. So yeah, so let's keep going. We got 25A and we got 2502. So we got a lot of numbers here, right? So let's go ahead and take this one. Again, these ones are all pretty close at 60+%. Not a lot. Like, honestly, that was very easy to drink. It didn't taste like a whole lot. It's like some subtle sweetness there now that it's kind of lingering around. Nothing, nothing too crazy when it comes to flavor. Hmm. This one has a very distinct taste to it, which I know what that distinct flavor is. And I'm not going to say it just yet. And I'm not going to say what the flavor note that I'm getting because I don't want to ruin it. Because if you know about any of these distillers or these bottlers, you're going to know exactly which one I'm talking about. So I'm trying to put that aside from it and like saying whether or not like I like the flavor of that, but do I like the flavor enough for it to move on to the next round? Because it's going to be such a distinct flavor that, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know how I would like to. Yeah, there's just a little bit more sweetness now that I've had the second sip of that one. A little bit more sweetness in there. It feels a lot smoother to drink. There's nothing super overpowering with the flavor or with the alcohol content, which was why I'm probably leaning towards that one. If I'm wrong on this, on which one I think this one is, then all hope is lost, right? But I'm like 99% sure I know which one that is. And if you're watching and you're seeing these two bottles, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go with this one here. This one, just like the first one, was really subtle, very very subtle. But then having this one and then going back to it, that sweetness kind of popped back out. This is the 25A out of Stagg, out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Beam. So Booker's comes out of Beam, the Jim Beam area. Or the Jim Beam distillery, right? And it does. It has a very distinct taste, and it's from what I've heard, people have said, that you either really like it or you really don't. and some people think that all bean stuff just tastes the same. Excuse me, the same, which I don't necessarily think that way. Um, but this does have a very distinct taste. It is like a peanut taste. And if you know me, if you're anybody that's watching this actually knows me personally, I hate peanut butter. I absolutely despise peanuts. I despise peanut butter. I'll eat any other kind of um, nut butter. I'll eat any other kind of nut butter, almonds, cashews, pecans, almond, like any of that stuff is good. But just for some reason, peanuts have always just had a very, and peanut butter have just had a very, very strong, distinct taste to me. And so maybe that's why it's super easy for me to pick that out in different bourbons and whiskeys. And this one definitely has that very distinct flavor. Not that it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I think I just prefer the taste of the Stagg with that like subtle sweetness, and it's just a little bit easier to drink, and it's a little bit easier on the palate. The other one that doesn't come from Beam that I don't think I've done a video on just yet, but you'll see it. The other one that had a very distinct peanut flavor that I absolutely loved, which is crazy, even though I just said I hate peanut butter and I hate peanuts, was Coy Hill from 2024. I was able to get that from a really good friend that had an extra one, and that one, when I tried it at Tap and Bottle here in Tucson, was fantastic. It was probably the best thing that I had along with the GTS from 2024 or 2023, might have been 2023. It was phenomenal, and I liked it because of that distinct peanut kind of flavor. I think it was maybe a little bit more subtle. I don't remember. I haven't had it in a little while than the Beam or the Booker's, but I just think that for today and for how I'm feeling and how I'm feeling about that flavor, I'm liking this and I'm leaning towards this. Again, this one's been almost drank. The whole thing is almost gone. Same with the 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean, I just got the 4 a couple months ago, and there's already a little bit gone from that. So it's not to say that it's not good. I just today prefer the George, not the George T. Stagg, the Stagg, Stagg Junior. I still call it Stagg Junior, but it's just called Stagg. So that's why I kind of prefer that. So far we have a clean sweep, a clean sweep of 1, 2, and 3. Moving on. Now this one is going to be really interesting, only because friends of mine have picked these. I'm good friends with Marissa out at Tap and Bottle, who does like their marketing, and she does a lot of the buying of their bourbons and their wines and their beers. She's always the one that's posting the stuff online or on their website, sending out emails, doing all the stuff. Then this one comes from Nana's. Nana's has been a big theme. I get a lot of their single barrels. I get almost all of their single barrels that come out. This one, my good friend TJ also helped them pick this one. Um, so I'm interested to see how these go. Obviously, they come from two different places. It's not like one Tap and Bottle Frey Ranch versus another Frey Ranch picked by Nana's, or vice versa with the Knob Creek. But we're going to kind of see how these play against each other. So it's going to be super, super fun. So we've got the Frey Ranch already here in this little bottle. Again, I didn't know how much I was going to drink of each one of these throughout the year, so I bottled some of these just in case, so that we had content to put together, right? Because it would suck to have drank it, right, and they were all gone already, and not have anything to tell you about how good the Frey Ranch single barrel was from Tap and Bottle. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to highlight that um, and be able to tell people about the really good stuff that I got in 2025. So the Frey Ranch one we got, one's done there. And now we're going to go into the Knob Creek. All right. All right. So the last pairing or competition, if you will, for the day is Knob Creek versus Frey Ranch. Um, If you don't know about Frey Ranch, you should. They're really, really good. It's almost like Still Austin too. I don't think Still Austin grows their own stuff out of Texas, but Frey Ranch grows all of their own stuff. Grown, distilled, matured at Frey Ranch in Fallon, Nevada. So it's out of Nevada. It's really, really good stuff. Their rye is really good. Their regular bourbon that's not barrel strength is really, really good. Um, it's distilled from 4 slow-grown grains out of Fallon, Nevada. There's a little story about it, but yeah, they grow all their own stuff. Great bottles, great looking product. Knob Creek, you know Knob Creek, 9-year, 9-year, 12-year, 18-year, 21-year. You know, they have a bunch of stuff out there. Their stuff is very, very good. Their barrel picks are also really good. So we're going to go head to head on 2 barrel picks from 2, what I say is really good distillers, obviously Knob Creek, and then you got Frey Ranch, which is definitely up and coming for sure. So let's see how these go. Ooh. Hmm. That one kind of had like a refreshing, like hit the palate, kind of refreshing taste to it. Along with the sweetness, some oakiness to it. But man, like the smell, the nose on it was, if you've watched some of my videos and you watched my Four Roses video, where I talked about one of the Four Roses tasted like how the smell of the veggie section at a grocery store is. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. It was probably the worst thing I've ever had in a bourbon. I didn't like it. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. But to get back to this, the smell is kind of vegetal. I will not lie. I don't know which one is which, but it is vegetal for sure. I guess we're just going to go for all of it. But now that I've said vegetal, it does come in a little bit of vegetal in there, and maybe that's that like refreshing taste that I had at the very beginning. I'm going to take that first taste as like what I really liked and then go on to this one. That one's a little bit more oaky, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of oak to it. I'm just I'm being a little subtle because I know my dog is about to bark because I think somebody's coming to our door, and I'm wondering if he's going to interrupt this video. But anyway, that one was sweet, oaky, oak taste to it. It's really good. I'm leaning towards this one because I'm just not a fan of that vegetal component that comes through. It's just really off-putting to me. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Let's see what this one is. This one is the Knob Creek out of Nana's. Could it be that because, I mean, I guess it's more locally grown that it comes through a little bit more? I don't know. That first taste, I'm telling you, that first taste was fantastic. But then drinking it a second time, and I already knew that the nose had that vegetal smell to it. I just already knew that it was there. And then I started focusing on it, I think, and that's where that came out in that second taste. Um, this is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Don't sleep on Frey Ranch at all. They do some really cool stuff, but this one, again, it's the 4 versus the 5, right? Like it's the closest. It's supposed to be the closest one, right? Just like in March Madness, you get those really close games that could go either way, right? So that one was the quote unquote upset there. But there we have it. We've got our 4 And now we're going to start to kind of fly through some of these videos to get all the way down to our number one. We've gone through all of our different regions, right? Go back and watch those videos to see how those played out. I can't tell you, I can't remember which ones went. I do know the low proof had some really crazy upsets with some of the Nana's picks against the Jack Daniel's 10-year and the Jack Daniel's 12-year. So that was really interesting to see. But we have our 4 that are moving on. I believe how it's going to go, right? It's not going to go 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 5. You'll have to see it's going to be done just the way that March Madness is done. So it's done fairly, right? Because we don't want, right, because the whole point of March Madness and the whole point of a bracket system, right, is if everything went the way that it was supposed to go, you would have 1 versus 2 in every single region, right? They should win out all of their stuff, and number 1 should win out all of their stuff, right? All of their different games or different blinds that they do. So we don't want the second round to already be 1 versus 2, and that was my mistake for doing it that way at the very beginning. But I've changed up the graphic and everything. So it's not going to be these together. I believe it's going to be 1, 5, and 2, 2, and 3, or it might be 1, 3, and 2, 5. I don't know how it's going to be. You'll see it on the screen. But I'm very excited for this one. These 3 are probably with the Staggs, right? These 3 are probably like, I guess, my pride and joy. I think I still have a batch 18. I have some stuff from 23, I think. And I think I have one from 24. I got a barrel pick from Fry's from a friend. I have another 25A. So I mean, yes, Buffalo Trace, I would say in anybody's new collection, Buffalo Trace is probably going to be the most outstanding bottles, right? Because they have a lot of really good stuff. Don't get me wrong. People say, you're a tater, you're just going after all the popular stuff. It's not very good. Don't listen to those people. It's really good. E.H. Taylor's got great stuff, small batch, single barrel. Their rye is really good. I've heard the barrel proof one is fantastic. I've just never been able to get it. Obviously, you have GTS and the BTAC, you have Pappy, you have Stagg, you have Weller. We almost have the whole rainbow. We do have CYPB. We're waiting on the 107 to do a video for that. But Buffalo Trace is really good. Those ones are like I think the ones that I like the best when it comes to distiller. I'm starting to change over to a different distiller. Hopefully we'll get some of those good things in 2026, and we'll do some comparisons between Buffalo Trace and that other distiller. So there you got it. GTS, Russell, Stagg, Knob Creek. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to keep watching these videos because it's going to come down now. We have the top 4 in all of the different all the different regions. So now it is a race to the finish. Who is going to come out on top as the bourbon/whiskey of 2025? Thank you so much for watching.